G'day, Tom here from Reformers Bookshop. It's good to have you back with us again for a Browse the Bookshop with Tom. We missed last fortnight, but we're back again, so it's good to be with you. So if you haven't joined us before, welcome. This is how it works. We're here in Reformers Bookshop in Sydney, and I'll tell you about a few books. I've got some here to tell you about. But if you want some live advice, or you want to ask a question about some of the books that we have here, just type them into the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Do let us know. And if you're watching this after the fact, then we're available anytime via email, phone call, or Facebook Messenger, and you can ask us your questions about books. We're here to help you find a good book. So let me tell you about some great books that we have in. Here's a few new ones to begin with. So Wayne Grudem wrote a book last year, maybe the year before, called Ethics, and Crossway have just started bringing out excerpts from that book. It's a hefty work. I should have brought it down. It's huge. And so they've started putting out these little booklets, which are less than 100 pages, so 70 or 80 pages, and they pull the information out of his ethics book on different topics. So this one's on abortion, euthanasia, and end-of-life decisions, and this one's on how to know God's will. And what I like about these is they're concise, very short, but they're also quite comprehensive. So he goes through looking at each of the topics from a biblical perspective, from a logical perspective, and even from a scientific perspective, to show you all the data, all the different questions that people ask, and all the different answers you could give around those different topics. So they're a really useful little resource if you're thinking about a particular ethical dilemma. And currently on special in our recent arrival special. Another new book that's come in, this is from Free Grace Press, a publisher we've just started to bring in. You can find a number of their titles on our website now. But this one here is called On the Side of God. It's a little biography about Andrew Fuller. Andrew Fuller was a pastor who lived a while ago, and this book is split into two. It's got a biography of Andrew Fuller, nice and short, punchy, and then looking at, in particular, Andrew Fuller's pastoral theology. So if you're a pastor, or if you're interested in pastoral theology and how to care for the flock that God's put under you, this would be an excellent read to get you thinking about that and encourage you in that. Next one. So this one's just arrived in as well. We've been waiting with anticipation for this one. This is new from Tim Challies. It's a book and a DVD series called Epic. And he actually filmed some of this in Australia, and even he dropped into our bookshop while he was on this tour. So that's why we've been waiting for it so long. So essentially what he does in this book and in the DVD series is he visits 33 objects in church history. He travelled the world to see them for himself, and he wanted to see how these objects have shaped church history. And I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I've heard very good things from reliable sources. Okay, so do comment in if you have any questions or want to know anything about some books. Now, the last little pile of books I have here for you, well, I say little, but it's quite a substantial pile. These are Soli Deo Gloria Puritan reprints. So it's an imprint now owned by Reformation Heritage Books, but it's a publisher who has been around for a while, and they have reprinted some Puritan works that are well worth looking at. The first one is Altogether Lovely by Jonathan Edwards. It's a collection of sermons about Jesus Christ, and I won't tell you too much about that. If you want to know more, just wait for our bookcast that's coming out in a couple of weeks. On the first Monday of the month, we'll talk about that one in there. But if you have a look here at this little set, there's a whole stack of really useful books that might be of interest to you. So Thomas Watson, Heaven Taken by Storm. This is talking about the use of violence in the Christian life, not in the physical violence sense, but violence in terms of how there's no sort of gliding, there's no coasting or cruise control in the Christian life. The Christian life is one of fighting, one of pursuing holiness with effort, and so that book works through that idea. The Art of Divine Contentment, also by Thomas Watson, if you want to consider contentment. He looks at Philippians 4. This is an excellent, any of the Puritan works, they love to get you thinking deeply about a topic, and so that's what that book will do around contentment. This little collection of essays here, I've found some of these to be incredibly helpful. The Godly Family, essays on the duties of parents and children. And because they're essays, they're not too overwhelming. It's really a collection of, you could argue, 3, 6, or about a dozen or so little books on the Christian life in a family. So that's worth looking at. And I'll finish with this one. This one here, Solitude Improved by Divine Meditation, is a book that will help you to think through how can you consider the Scriptures, consider the Lord throughout your day. How can you meditate on God? And in particular, how can you set aside time to consider Him? And so that's a topic I think is greatly neglected today. It would be worth having a look into. Do we have no comments? Good. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. It was great to be with you. If you have any questions about great Christian books or what to read, or you're wanting advice, do get in touch. We'd love to help you out.